Welcome back to the BNI San Diego Podcast. I'm Andy Cruz, filling in for Ed Wilson this week. And with me today, I have Crystal Privett. She is the President of BNI Escondido. She is a business trainer and also, as you see from her BNI San Diego shirt, she's a BNI Director along with me and our amazing team. Crystal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being part of the Director team and appreciate all that you bring to BNI. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
I'm happy to have you here. And I'm really glad that it's like you and me that get to be on the show. I know Ed would love to be on the show doing this with you, but I'm very fortunate to have you to be here today to talk about mindset and talk about kind of where we find ourselves. So much has changed in business culture. It feels like we say that every year. I know I say that every year, but there just really seems to be a sense of like overwhelm. And people are just so busy and there's so many things flying at us.
It needs to be addressed. It needs to be
We need to talk about it all. So from your position of business training and also being a director and working with people and clients directly and understanding BNI, I want to kind of fuse all those things together today and talk about kind of where do we find ourselves and what are some best practices people could adopt right now so they aren't getting just stomped by everything happening around us.
Absolutely. That's such a great place to operate from. I will dive into the best of my ability because I love all of that.
Awesome.
So first of all, we need to address how we speak to ourselves. Oftentimes, our mental narrative is something that we don't even realize is addressing us. So 90% of our thoughts are a repeat of yesterday, and 80% of our thoughts are negative every day.
That's a lot.
Let me repeat that. 80% negative, 90% are a repeat of yesterday. So what happens, Andy, if you have a to-do list and you got 50% of your to-do list done? We should be celebrating our success, right? Well, we tend to not celebrate our success as much, and we tend to focus on what we didn't get done. And if we take a little more time to be like proud of ourselves and have a little more grace, remember, if we're talking to ourselves and our inner narrative, we often don't realize that our dialect is driving us. It's like having a teacher. Do we want the kindergarten teacher that's cultivating us and nurturing us and telling us positive things? Like, great job, you got those 5 things done? Or do you want the teacher that's like hammering it in you? You should have done those other 5. Why didn't you get that done? Maybe even saying not nice things to yourself internally. We don't even realize that we could be our own harshest teacher.
Oh, I know that the answer could probably vary, but in your experience, where do you think that comes from? Is it just a childhood thing? Is it an adult thing as we accept some more maturity or accept some responsibility as we mature? Like, why is it that that's our go-to? Are our brains just made that way? Are our bodies made that way? How do you answer that for people?
The science says it's the subconscious mind. So 90% of our thoughts are subconscious, and if we can address that. It's like an internal well of infinite possibilities. We can run off the 5% willpower. I've willed a lot of things to be true, but that's 5% of our capability. So the first 7 years of our life, you're right, our subconscious mind was formed. So if you can go in and address some of those maybe traumatic things that happened to you, or if you had a great childhood, you're probably doing even better in life based on where your baseline was. It's kind of like a bag of popcorn. They all have the kernels. Everyone has the potential at the beginning. Some kernels pop quicker, some take a little more time, and some never do. We all have this infinite potential within us, but are we using tools and resources, like you said, to guide us when we have a challenge, when we have an obstacle? Because I don't know a single entrepreneur that got here without overcoming obstacles, without overcoming mindset. And it's something that we can kind of learn to have fun with too.
Yeah. Well, and I know that I'm the one bringing up the idea of overwhelm, partly because I'm in a position where I'm noticing it, but also I'm going to say this up front. I think I'm part of it too. Like, we're content creators. We make podcast shows, we produce shows, and I'm hosting them. I'm on them. And I understand that that's all getting thrown at people, and I'm assigning the label overwhelm in this part of the conversation. What are the things you're recognizing, or what are you seeing people come to you and saying, I'm overwhelmed by this? What are some of the things that they're naming in these days?
So sales professionals will have to hit a sales goal, right? So when they hit the sales goal, they raise it. Or when they don't hit the sales goal, they're told that they're demoralized basically. So salespeople I work with companies like Microsoft, big companies and small companies on an individual level. I work with the executives. I work with the staff too. So sometimes it's an overwhelm of culture. Sometimes things are just too much rapid growth, and the people need to take a moment to just process and settle into what's happening. And growth is great, but we also need to make sure that our employees are able to catch up to it. So in one session with what I do with the subconscious mind, we can get people to release the anxiety, overwhelm, fear, grief. People like Ed that are going through processing these emotions. However, I never help people with grief right away. I let that naturally process, and then after a normal amount of time, then we can usually dive into that. But there's lots of things that we run an update on our cell phone, and we don't necessarily think about, oh, well, this was this programming, this was that programming. Essentially, that's what I do. I help people update on like one app at a time, or when my really deep work,
Yeah.
it's like doing a factory reset. So
Oh man.
yeah. And remembering, Andy, the people are overwhelmed because our brain is processing 40 million bits of information every second.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So how do we have time to buffer? How do we have time to restore? And that's really important. As entrepreneurs in San Diego, we have to, I'm a single mom. I have 3 jobs
Yeah.
and 2 BNI roles.
Yeah.
People can get overwhelmed because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Or people can take that opportunity to enjoy and embrace these ways to explore and express their passions, their creativity, the different facets of ourselves. I like to say the more facets we have, the more we sparkle. And it's okay to do things that people might think are weird. I did a beauty pageant last year. I was Miss National United States Woman of Achievement, and I got to use that to help veterans with mental health with a veteran charity that I support. So
Congratulations.
be weird. Do things that do things that you like. I think it's really important. Only we know what will nurture us.
Well, and in the idea of overwhelm, and you're mentioning growth, and maybe growth is happening too fast, and company culture, and I look at things, and I look my inbox.
Yeah,
it's bombarded with promotions.
Absolutely.
It's bombarded with marketing. It's bombarded with things, and then sometimes I get the text or the email or the phone call. Hey, did you get my email? I'm like, when did you send it? That's my initial. Crystal, when did you send that email? Last Thursday? Hold on, let me go look. And I really don't like that about just the culture we live in dynamically in the digital world. And then I also get a ton of DMs, and there's so many messages forwarded to me in social media. And so again, it's like, is it problem or opportunity? It's a little bit of both. Are we operating in that space as an organization? Yes, we are, because that's where our members are hanging out. And also the leaders inside BNI Global, USA, Dr. Ivan Meisler himself. I mean, we're following each other there. I have to decide where the guardrails of that are for myself. Otherwise, it quickly spills over into everything else, and it's just a mess.
Boundaries. It's one of the main things we work with. Everyone's like, what do you mean? Boundaries are really important because they don't just protect you, they protect other people too. And when we have a fence, we think, oh, well, it's just to keep people out. But maybe it's to keep our dogs in. Maybe it's to let our kids play on the extra space that we have. Boundaries aren't just bad to keep things out. Boundaries are also to protect and to support. So sometimes saying no to something is okay, because that means it gives you an opportunity to say yes to something that maybe lights you up a little bit more. So my goal and my wisdom would say to tune into your intuition, because everyone knows that they're powered by something different. We're all unique. We're all bio-individual. We need to make sure we're taking time to nurture our mind, our body, and our soul. We're not just human beings here. We're here having a spiritual experience as this human. And as that, we should embrace things that we believe are part of our purpose. If we have 5 things that we're able to achieve, but 20 things we're not, let's make sure those 5 things that we do achieve in our lifetime are these wonderful nuggets of passion and purpose that we have inside of us that maybe we didn't know that we could let out.
Yeah. What advice are you finding yourself giving people now that either their boundaries got moved because of their title and responsibility, or because of a condition of their life season they find themselves in. How are you helping people kind of reset boundaries based on changes that have occurred recently in their life?
This is a great question because every entrepreneur is in a different level in life. And sometimes when people get to a new stage, I remind people that it's okay to have different seasons of life. In winter, we eat heavier foods. In summer, we eat lighter things. Maybe you're going to be having a different career for the next, a little period. Maybe you're going to have an interim position. Maybe you need to take a period of rest. They did this incredible study with the redwood trees in the forest. Did you hear about it? They were over 200-year-old trees, and they injected them with adrenaline. And you know what happened to these 200-year-old trees that had withstood forest fires and earthquakes and rare conditions, the heat, the elements? 1 year, all of the trees had died. It didn't even last 1 year because those trees needed the seasons. The adrenaline in the redwood tree didn't help it. It didn't give it this surge, this boost. It killed it because it needed the cycles and the seasons to restore itself. So don't be a redwood. Don't force yourself to do those 20 other things. Maybe you're supposed to rest and receive instead of forcing.
Dang, there's a heavy, heavy lesson in that. Wow. I did not know about that study.
Yeah.
But that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because, you say adrenaline. I'm like, oh, they must have flourished, and no, okay, it had the opposite effect. That's tragic.
It was tragic only unless we allow ourselves to be saved by it. If we save 100 people from one tree that died from a lesson that we learned, they say when you can have that, as Dr. Bruce Lipton says, we can act from wisdom when we remove that emotional attachment. So that's probably one of the other secrets to success is operating without that emotional response, instead operating from your true essence. When we can get into, there's a 17-second rule. When you think of something good or you think of something bad, when it's really powerful, within 17 seconds, Dr. Jeffrey Fannin found that the chemicals change within our body. If we're thinking something positive, they're positive chemicals. If we're thinking something negative, they become negative chemicals. But in 68 seconds, those chemicals turn into cells. So now we have negative cells in our body or negative or positive. So if we're thinking of something negative, here's a little example. You spill your coffee, you stub your toe, you're running late. All of these things are cycling. You're out of control. How does the rest of the day go? It's just the one thing. You're like, get me into my bed. I'm done, Crystal. Or the other could be true. We can just have all these positive things. The positive effects too can also, both ends of the spectrum could be true.
So 17 seconds and 68 seconds. That is very specific.
Yes.
I'm going to have to remember that.
Yeah, they put the diodes on the brain, and Dr. Jeffrey Fannin studied the brain to see the emotional response rate. Yeah.
So, okay, this is a you question.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that there's such a varied type, not a varied type of person, there's people are, when you are interacting with people, they are in whatever situation they're in at their job. Mm-hmm. They're in whatever life stage they're in. They're either, more optimistic or pessimistic. You kind of catch them in this flash moment in time. Like, how do you maintain your flexibility in order to productively serve all the variety of people that you help? I'm listening to you and I'm thinking my math brain is going, oh my God, there are thousands of variables in every sentence you're saying. And I'm thinking, oh my God, she applies this differently to every person she interacts with. How does that work? So how does that work?
It works so beautifully and so cool. And I love it. And my clients love it. And I nerd out on it because we're all bio individuals. So I have all of these lessons that I've learned and all of these masters that I've studied and the people that I work with and events I go to. I love neuroscience and I love business development. And I love that you can merge the two together because oftentimes we're the ones holding ourselves back. If we hit a plateau, why are we not rising? What that's stopping us from doing that one or two things that we know would take us to that next level? Is it someone else or is it really us? Are we the victim or are we choosing to maybe have a little less accountability, which is one of our BNI core values, than we really should. I found radical accountability is like a slingshot.
Oh my gosh, this is great. I love this. So you're bringing up accountability and core values. So having some, I'd say, baseline of like structure that people can attach them to would seem to be a great way to get someone started who's stuck.
Yeah.
At least having something to kind of attach a process to, and then try to measure some progress. Is that kind of where you start with people?
Well, I do have a tool that measures your life in 12 different areas, and we start with that assessment. And then what we do is essentially find what you want to work on. So if you have anxiety, we would ask you, Andy, what's the opposite of anxiety for you?
Happiness.
Okay, so we would infuse more happiness. We would create a statement like, I embrace a life of joy and happiness so I can serve others and feel vibrant. That might be how you want to feel.
Got it.
Is that how you currently feel?
It's not the way you find me in that moment. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So we want to find what you want to believe, but you don't currently believe, because we want to build a new pathway.
Got it.
So we do an exercise that helps you get there, and using a subconscious reprogramming. I have a process that's already created by my mentor, Jenny Harkle. So I didn't create the Summit Transformation process, but it's very, very efficient, and I love it. So essentially we find what they want to rewire. We talk about it, what they're addressing this week. It could be health, finances, career, spirituality, a variety of things. And then we actually take action after we rewire that step. Because it's kind of like going into that forest and building the new pathway. But once it's built, we don't want something to regrow over it. So the science, I love to always refer back to the science. The science says doing something that's actionable, that says, I believe in this new belief so much, I'm going to take action on it. That really cements your new belief. So essentially, we're finding what's blocking you, rewriting it in your own words, reprogramming it into your mind so you actually feel that way, and then ta-da, people leave my office feeling better, and they're like, Crystal, no way else that I can find that I actually leave feeling better than I showed up.
Yeah.
And then I get little crazy cool little I love my little success memos that people send that are like, okay, I hit an ideal golf game this week. And not only that, every time I said I can do whatever my mind tells me. And I would tell my friend, I'm going to have my ball lay right next to yours. And they were like, he was doing two different games. He was playing a game of golf, and he was playing a game in his mind of his mental narrative. And I think that's so cool to see people's growth, to see, yes, there's great, huge successes that my clients get. I love that. Going from 2 million to 25 million all day long. Go get them. But sometimes it's the little things. It's that emotional success, not being triggered by something anymore. Finding out that you were meant for a little bit more and you've been playing small.
Yeah.
Some of those things, when you can kick off those things that are holding you back. That's why I said it's like a slingshot, because what happens to a slingshot? You get pulled back, but then you go off and you're soaring and you're doing whatever you're really meant to be. And we weren't here to suffer. I believe we genuinely were here to thrive, but it's up to us, that radical accountability.
Yeah.
Are we doing our part? Are we serving our people? Are we supporting our families? Are we doing the blocking and the tackling so that we can be great entrepreneurs, so we can be great people and create positive ripple effects?
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. I would love if you could translate that, or not translate that, let's kind of put that hand in glove with BNI a little bit too. How does that show up for people who are, I guess it's kind of a couple different people, because you're currently on leadership team, so the president of your chapter. So that means something.
Second term in
a row. 2 times. You're president of your chapter.
I love you.
So let's kind of talk about that from the leadership perspective of being in leadership team. Because, when this episode comes out, we're talking about the season of the year where the new leadership team is being chosen. Members are committing themselves to being the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, or on a support team role, visitor host, membership committee. They're doing mentoring. They're doing the education coordinator. They're actively engaged and accountable to the group. So how do you look at leadership inside BNI, knowing what you do professionally, and then knowing what the roles and responsibilities are inside BNI? How do you look at those things complementing one another?
Every role I've had in BNI has helped me be a better person, be a better leader, and helped me get jobs that I would not have been able to get had I not been a BNI leader. One small example was when I first joined, I became education coordinator, and I was a single mom I was a mom for 17 years. Not single at that time, but now I am. But I had never done a PowerPoint presentation in my life, Andy. I hadn't even opened up a computer in a very long time. My ex-husband had to force me to do Facebook. I wasn't even doing that, but I mean, I ended up doing social media. But had I not done education coordinator, I would not have learned to have done PowerPoint presentations. So I was doing my education coordinator PowerPoint presentation the first year. And then the next year I got into speaking. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the PowerPoints to the side and I'm going to do this off the cuff. So now as personal speaker, I used that as an opportunity to launch. And then I was like, everyone stepped back when leadership opportunities happen. And I had 2 people come to me and say, I really think you're the right person for this. And one of them was the previous president. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to think about it. I still might have to Uber my kids to school while I'm leading. And there's a lot of things to juggle here. But in my heart, I knew it would be worth it because whenever I serve, I always end up taking away more than I give. And that's not because I don't give, because I give a lot. But there's relationships. There's people that are in my life. We lost a dear member in our chapter this last term, Rosemary Litoff, and right before she passed, she had created a book, and she said that she created that book because I have 11 books, and she was like, you've inspired me, and I'm going to take this leap. It ended up being published the week after she passed. So we ended up purchasing that book and supporting her. But seeing these people do things, any part of your life, she unexpectedly passed, but she did one of those things that she'd always wanted to do right before she passed. She left her legacy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really important to me, is knowing that people are doing what they're actually here and called for, because we get derailed by doing what we think we're supposed to do.
I don't know that you know this, but every quarter for years, Rosemary and I had lunch together.
Oh.
And oftentimes I would take my wife, Jen, or one of my girls with me, especially when they started working here and working with me. And then at home, they affectionately call her Grandma Rosemary.
Oh.
So I'm glad you brought her. I'm glad you brought her up. I didn't know you were going to say that today, but I miss her a lot.
I miss her a lot too. I keep my little yellow phone around. She gave us a little yellow phone.
The stress squeezed phone thing.
I know.
Oh, she was such a special lady.
She was so special. She wrote handwritten notes, and
be
a Rosemary. If you're listening to this episode today, let someone you know that's in your life know that you care about them.
Yeah. You know, even after we'd meet at the same place every time. We would go to Waba Grill up in Claremont. We'd meet at the same place every time, every quarter. But the week following, on one of the days, 3rd, 4th, 5th day, in the mail, I'd get a handwritten thank you card.
Yes.
From Rosemary, and I always enjoyed that.
And I still find them around my house, and I hold on to them. She was so special. But I think that's really great that she got brought up, because yes, as entrepreneurs, there's so much noise. There's so much going on, but it's the people, it's the memories, it's the letters. I would go with Rosemary. We have a little women's group that we would go have lunch with and get to network once a month as well. And knowing how many people she was doing things like this, I still hear from people say, "Oh yeah, I was under her wing. She must have been doing this for a ton of people."
Oh yeah, it had to.
I can imagine she probably didn't watch TV at night. She probably wrote letters, because I got quite a few.
Yeah. No, she's great. Yeah, thank you for that little sidebar there. That was great to talk about Rosemary for a minute. Definitely miss her. I like what you're saying regarding your commitment to being on a leadership team and it making you better in other facets of your life. And I think that's something that it gets undersold and oversold. Okay. So on one side, we don't talk enough about how leadership team participation will make you better as a leader in other facets of your leadership in business development in your own company or your role at your business that you are representing in BNI. We oversell it, sometimes go, oh my gosh, this is going to be so great because da, 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 da. But it really is only going to be as great as you allow it to be and you commit yourself to be. and then you allow yourself to be accountable to. And so what I've experienced over multiple times being president, and sometimes doing it really well, and sometimes not doing it as well as the other times, is it can be a wonderful, wonderful enhancement to your BNI experience, because if you take the things you learn in leadership team and you cross-populate them in your business life, they absolutely have a chance to like grow and mature things in you that a now 41-year-old system, soon to be 42-year-old system, has vetted and proven out.
Yeah.
When I failed to do those things, I suffered at the hands of the indecision to cross-populate them. There's my little my 2 cents. Sounds like 20 cents. Yeah. But I'm glad that you brought that up so I can make that point. And also that this is a way for you to already bring to the table leadership qualities. If you are already a leader in your company, bring that to your chapter and give them your best. If you are hoping to develop as a leader, this is a great way for you to learn how to be a leader in a system that's proven with best practices that'll grow you and mature you as a business person.
And even if you're not a leader, there's a lot of really cool roles within BNI membership committee, within serving within there's a lot of room for creativity too. The new marketing roles. Like, I think it's great for people to really assess what they're passionate about and then move from there. Like, have you done a role? Maybe you're burnt out on a role. We had Julie Litchfield who was in a role for, I want to say 8 years. And I was like, my goal is to take you off of a role.
We're going to find a replacement for you.
She's had a little break and she's helped me with our women's little power team. But thank you, Julie, for all that you do. But find something that resonates with you. Don't pick something that you're going to feel forced into, because you might not serve it as well. I had a lot of passion to do president because I wanted to see my entrepreneurs grow. I wanted to get everyone out. My goal was to get everyone out of the red. Yeah. My goal wasn't actually a number, wasn't to add a certain amount of chapter members. It wasn't to hit a certain goal. Yeah, we have our goal of 5 million. But really, mine was to get everyone active, everyone playing.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I have a couple more things I wanted to touch on, because we're in this like second half of the year part of the calendar year. And, we recently had an episode talking about kind of measuring the halfway mark. Where are you? What do you need to do? Do you need to make up ground in the second half? Do you find yourself giving different advice to people in BNI and in business during the second half of the year towards getting their goals accomplished, or picking up the things that they put down, or taking that victory lap if they've already crossed some milestones that they were hoping to hit this year? What do you find yourself talking about in the second half of the year?
Results may vary. That's a little callback from Andy and
Results may vary
earlier. Yeah, I think everyone's important, and they're all in different. There are cycles. I will sometimes see, like, there's this one form of reprogramming that uses color, and I will see patterns. Like, one time I saw 9 people in a row pick the same color, and I was like, okay, we're onto something. Or sometimes I'll see like pain trapped in a certain place for multiple people. So like lower back pain often is not getting enough support in life. There's subconscious psychological meaning behind the physical pain in our body. So sometimes I'll have like 4 or 5 people with shoulder, and like, oh, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like, oh wait, that's literally what your body is telling you. So I do see cycles more than I would say I see seasons. With how talking to people, I really tune into what's happening in their lives and what's happening in the culture. So maybe a little bit as far as the end of the year, but most my people, they know where they're at on their goals. If you're working with me regularly, you're not making up as much because you're probably already ahead.
Yeah, they're already on. They're marching towards the destination they already prescribed, huh?
Yeah, well, because if you're focusing on growth regularly, then it's active and measurable. Then you're going to be measuring it. You're going to be adding to it. You're not going to be sitting there watching it stay the same. We want to add to our plate, not because, oh, I want to say I'm a president, but maybe I'm going to learn something about how to be a better leader for maybe even my next role. You never know. One time my niece came to me and she said, Aunt Crystal, I got this job offer, but I really don't know because I don't think it's something I really want to do. And I said, I would consider this, sweetheart. This probably is not your job long term, but there's probably a skill or a technique or someone that you're going to meet along the way that might be a stepping stone for you. So I would go into this not thinking this is going to be my end career. Instead, I'm going to take a little nugget out of this opportunity, and I would implore people with BNI to be the same. Oftentimes in a conversation, people can take away one or two things and really remember it. If you're a leader and you take away one or two big things from being a leader, I'm so proud of my people. I love my group. I'm going to watch one of my fine artists. He has one of his oil. He does copper, fine art on copper. Rich Hawk. He's going to have his artwork this weekend at the Contemporary Museum at Woodward. So we're going down there for the second time to go support our buddy, bringing people to see his fine art, helping people and in my group we have someone who's bringing a soccer team to San Diego. So helping that entrepreneur to expand out in his footprint here in San Diego. Like, there's so many cool things about this area, but I believe life is what you make it. And so is BNI, and so is our career. So I want to make mine the best. Like, I don't know. I'm that nerd, like quantumly, there's all these like different realities, right? There's different versions of us. I want to be the best version of Crystal.
Well, let's talk to people who are listening to this and they're like, yeah, that sounds great, but I am in shambles. My life is falling apart. My business isn't going the way I want it to. I don't know what to do next. Where do I even start? Is there even time left this year for me to even make a dent in what my goals were in January? What would you say that they should do next? If anything I said sounds like something you said or sounds like a way you feel, what would you recommend that person do next in their life to get themselves towards the right direction?
So this is going to sound weird and it's going to sound very simple, but it's something, if we talked about the 80-90 rule, 80% of our thoughts are negative, 90% are a repeat of yesterday. If we could just get out of our own way a little bit, it would help us have a little more clarity. So there's one exercise I'm going to have people do at night, right before bed, 5 minutes. Literally have fun with it. I love for people to visualize their very best life right before bed, because your subconscious is going to download every single thing that you see and hear from the day. But if you download your very best life right before bed, because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So you can literally imagine your reality into existence. So if you're downloading your very best life, I'd rather wake up with a residual of that than my to-do list. So 10 minutes, 5 minutes before bed, visualize what it looks like, what it feels like. What's your posture going to be like? How are you going to be serving your community? Are you going to be receiving an award? Will you have a new business partner? What is your life going to look like and feel like? And then what would it look like if it was 10 times greater than that? And 10 times greater than that. Play and explore in your mind because if you can't visualize the success that you want to have in life, how can we achieve it?
That's great. I love it. That's a great exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that people who, if they're honest enough to take inventory and find themselves in that place I described, do that little exercise. I shouldn't say a little. It sounds very big. It's a little.
Expansive.
It's expansive. That's a great. Thank you. I was like, what's the word I'm looking for? Expansive. Yeah. And I don't think often not often. I don't think we're regularly invited into that kind of activity or allow ourselves to do that, especially in preparation for the next day and the next morning and how we wake up and arrive at that. So thank you for sharing that.
And can I have a little call out really quick? Men, don't be afraid to step forward. I particularly love serving the male community because I believe you guys are not stepping forward and you know that you're suffering. So at first I was originally mostly focusing on helping women for the first 3 years of my work. And I'm a mom of 2 boys. And I thought this is not okay because I love serving women. At first I needed to feel safe and open, but now I love helping men so much because I feel like that they're underappreciated, underserved, and that they don't prioritize their mental health. And I believe there's a very bad stigma that men have to overcome where it's like, oh, man up, or, oh, you can overcome it. Yes, you gentlemen are very strong, but that 5% willpower is only a percentage of what you're capable of. So I love helping the men realize that they are capable of more. And sometimes it's more about, for men, exploring some of those things you liked as a child, adding in a little more fun so that the responsibilities you do carry are carried with more joy.
That's great. I love that point. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. And I know that comes from a personal place too, wanting your sons to be raised up in that as well, and have their own confidence and assurance of who they are and what they're doing, and having purpose in their life as well.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. Oh, there's something else I wanted to ask you about. You had mentioned, and I know this actually might be more of a deeper process for people if they need it or when they need it, is red light therapy. I forgot to ask you about that. Let's talk about that real quick, because I know that some people don't know what red light therapy is.
Mhm.
And then how do you apply that with people, and what is a sign that's right for you, or when someone knows, oh, I might need something more than just talking it out, writing it out, I actually need some red light therapy?
Yeah, so I would say the mental health is really for the mind and the soul. The red light is really for the body and the soul. So oftentimes sometimes men or women don't feel like talking, like you said. They're ready for a little bit new processing, but they don't know how to get there. So we have commercial grade beds and panels and face masks that you can use, and it helps regulate your nervous system so you can get in that parasympathetic nervous system. And really, a lot of the problems that people are having are related to inflammation in our blood, heart disease, arthritis, pain, um, weight gain. A lot of those all have to do with inflammation. So if we can reduce that inflammation, then we can get the body's cells healing properly. I love forms of healing that are holistic. I like using the first, what we have available. And red light therapy is really great because the light is using photobiomodulation. It's a fancy word. So photo, like photosynthesis, the sun. Bio is our body. And modulation is a form of applying it. So it's this way of saying that the sun heals our body by the sun. The light goes into the spectrum using irradiance. The light spectrum can go into the skin, and then it allows your mitochondria to get energy. So it's like going into the cell and filling it up with fuel. And then your cell, its natural ability, can now heal itself. And that's what allows the near infrared to really help the body to reduce the inflammation. It helps women with promoting collagen. Men use it for hair regrowth, pain reduction. Athletes, we have several athletes. We have 3 different teams right now that we're working with to get it to the because it's performance recovery. Yeah. So wow. It's a variety. So a little bit like 15-minute treatment.
Yeah.
Ours has near infrared, so it's detoxing the cell and energizing it, which essentially, if you can get the bad stuff out and get more of the good stuff, our body is a healing machine. So if we can just give it a little boost, I believe we'll be in the right steps. And so I think, depending on where you're at in life, if you're hurting physically and emotionally, I would say maybe the red light therapy infused with that. And I also have one of my ladies in North County, shout out to Suzanne. She has 2 locations with our panels where she does the lymphatics. So she's San Diego Lymphatics and Massage, and she has 2 of the red light panels. She does the lymphatic massage, and then she does the panels and the facial and occipital work, I believe is what you told me, Suzanne, that she was working on. So yeah, it's really great to see she does pre and post surgery work as well. Mm-hmm. So people are having operations to get that lymph, because your body.
Yeah, lymph drain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot there.
Yeah. So I mean, no matter where you're at in life, if you want to take your business to a next level, if you want to take your body to the next level, if you want to take your mind to the next level, just reach out to me. I'm here to help. That's we joined BNI because we want to serve people.
Well, why don't you tell everybody there what's the best way to reach you if they are liking something that you talked about in this episode, or they have a question they want to follow up with you? What's the best way for them to find you?
So just reach out to me, Crystal Privett. You can text the word Crystal to 26786, or you can find me on social media under Crystal Privett. On Instagram, I'm Miss Mindset. But you can text 26786 and you will receive a free gift, and you'll get an opportunity to reach out with me. I'll give you a free consultation. I'm here to help. So just text that number and reach out to me.
Crystal Privett, thank you so much for being here on the BNI San Diego podcast. It was a joy to have you in the studio today. And thank you for coming onto the show to share your wisdom, your knowledge, your insights, solutions. It's been wonderful listening, and I've learned a variety of new things today that now I've got me thinking. I'm like hosting and processing at the same time. Like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I need to revisit that, or I should go check that out, or I should do that same mental process myself. So thank you for giving me some nuggets of knowledge to walk away with today. You had said at the very onset, I always want someone to walk away with something new they can learn, and I learned that. I learned some new things myself today too. So an honor for me to sit here and be taught and guided by you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Andy. It was a pleasure.
And thank you all for watching the BNI San Diego podcast. If this is your first time here, remember to like this video and also subscribe to the channel. We have a brand new episode that airs every single week. So whether you are finding us and you're a member here in BNI San Diego, you're in the United States, or you are watching us in BNI International land, we are so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and sharing the show with people you know, love, and trust as you increase your visibility, credibility, and profitability as a BNI member. Thank you all for joining us this week, and we'll see you with another great guest next week. Bye.
This episode of the BNI San Diego podcast has been brought to you by Cruz Productions, a San Diego-based video production company and proud BNI member. You can find us at the intersection where business and creativity meet, or online at cruzproductionsinc.com.